Hi guys, welcome back to Dear Woman. We have a very incredible guest with us here today. The beautiful, the talented, the multifaceted
That's
Stephanie.
yeah.
I mean, she does not need an introduction, but I will let her say one or two things.
Hi guys, I hope you guys are doing great. My name is Stephanie Nganga. I'm a digital content creator, and that's a pearl.
That's so purr.
I think I'm old. Anyway, so today we are having a conversation about content creation.
Yes.
So if you don't know, these two, they're content creators. Kayla, tell us what you do in the world of content.
What I do in terms of content is I major in fashion, obviously. Other than fashion, I'm also a writer. That qualifies as content, right? Yeah, so I'm a fashion writer, but I also just write short stories that I normally share on my Instagram. And I do lifestyle too. Really passionate about lifestyle because I think, we all love the good things in life, and I like to share my bits and pieces on the things that I come across. Restaurants, everything really that I really love, but mostly fashion.
Okay, and you, Steph?
My niches are makeup, lifestyle, and style. So I believe that's self-explanatory.
Very concise.
Straight to the point.
Very straight. Kayla is still trying to find that
Which is okay.
It's okay. Comfort to have. So I'm going to moderate a conversation between these two content creators because, as you know, I'm not a content creator, but I really find that the work they do is difficult and it's challenging, and many people think that they want to be in the content creation space, but they really don't know what it takes or what it means. So there's a lot of they think just creating content is waking up in the morning, taking pictures, posting them, and hoping for the best. But so I thought that we would have Steph here because obviously I love her content, and you, Kayla, I love your content, to discuss what it means to create content and how you can turn that into a long-term vision, because I actually don't think being a content creator is sustainable long-term as a job. It needs to be creating content with a goal of X. I think we were discussing this.
Yes, an end goal in mind.
Yeah.
So how did you start your content creation journey? So when did you think Steph, okay, I need to create content and I want to put myself out there in this way?
I think genuinely for me, I never started going into it like I want to create content. It was one of those things I just fumbled or stumbled into them. So this was probably after high school, and this is the period between, so I finished high school in November and I joined uni in May the next year. So between that period there was a lot of free time and I really didn't know what to do, and I think I was already into makeup. I was doing it horrendously, but
what matters is you were doing it.
Exactly.
I was trying. So I think I started watching a lot of creatives on YouTube. By the way, it actually started on YouTube, and then now I followed these people who I was watching on YouTube to Instagram. My Instagram at the time was just there, and I was just posting when I post. It was nothing serious.
Yeah.
So when I started now trying to perfect the craft or trying to learn and trying to come up with all these things, that's when I actually said, you know what, let me I was, how do I say, what I was watching, I was doing. So I was seeing people do makeup videos, and that's what I started from the beginning with. That's what I started to do. And then I think I did it for almost a year, and it wasn't seriously. Then it was just me putting makeup, creating and sharing and learning on the way. And then I think when I started to get, when my page started getting traction, I said, you know what, there's something here.
It's looking promising.
Promising. So I think that's when I started taking it seriously. So now I've been doing it seriously for almost 2 years.
Oh wow. Congratulations.
Thank
babe.
you.
Oh my
It's
god.
been a journey.
It is a journey.
And you, Kayla Okari, tell us.
I like that you said both of my names.
Yeah, I feel like if I call you Kayla, I'm not moderating the conversation anymore. I feel like we are talking in the bed.
Yes, for sure. I don't know. I think just the same way. Just after high school, I was really into fashion, and I've always talked about how fashion for me was so integral to my self-confidence. Right? I think when you're in high school, you have a lot of insecurities.
For sure.
Yeah, So when I discovered my passion for fashion and style, and I started going for events, and I would get recognized by people. They're like, oh, hi, you're Kayla. And I was like, how do you know me? So that's how I started, just posting the things that I liked, fashion, my outfits, and people seem to gravitate towards it. And now I've been doing it for, I don't know, maybe 3 years. Okay. Yeah, just posting, honestly. But I think for me, I transitioned from content to having a business, because I realized, and I think we're going to talk about this later on, that the Kenyan content creation or the Kenyan influencing industry has not really matured to where other countries are. And because of that, I feel like for me, I didn't see it as a viable option in terms of taking it too seriously
as a job.
Yeah, as a job. I had to pivot to what I thought my influence could manifest in terms of making me money. So I think that's my journey, and that's where I am right now, trying to translate my passion and the things that I loved at the beginning, fashion, style, all that, and seeing how that can make me money through a business.
Okay. So what would you say, like, okay, so you started, so first of all, I want you guys to note that these are things that they were already passionate about.
Yes.
Then when you're passionate about something, it's easy to make content about it, isn't it? So after that, you start making content. How do you think the content creation journey has been? Like, what challenges did you face, and what did you think, like, oh, you thought this is what content creation is and what it actually is in real life?
Yeah.
So what would you say for you, Stephanie?
I think for me, and I also want to touch on this because I feel like even when it comes to having already worked in this industry for, let's say, 2 years seriously, I notice a lot of people do not have appreciation for the creation part of content creation. When we hear content creation, people just assume it's taking photos or just, doing small TikToks, small transitions like this. Post, edit, and
something appears.
But I think what people forget, I'm looking for the word. Maybe I was not very much aware of the creation aspect when it comes to creating. For example, for me, if it's a video, for example, I always draw up storyboards. I always put up vision boards. Then I have to look for music that I'm gonna sync the edits to. Then I have to start to edit, and editing already is a skill you have to acquire over time. So people forget all of that goes into the final product that you see. So that was something I think in the beginning maybe I was naive, or I was not very much informed of, until I started to understand how difficult it is to actually get that final edit there. And it's worse when you're a perfectionist, because if a lash was lifted, that's it.
I'm done for the day. We try again.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So I think that's something I wish people would know more, and I wish that's something my younger creator knew more.
But do you think, like, being a perfectionist is a hindrance to your creativity or the content you put out? Because when you wait to be perfect, like, you will hardly put anything out.
Yes, and at the same time, no, because I feel like being a perfectionist and a creator simultaneously, because they don't have to be necessarily mutually exclusive, it's like a double-edged sword. There's the good and the bad to it. For one, I do know that because people may not necessarily understand what necessarily goes into content creation and the whole breakdown of it, and because people do not tend to appreciate what they don't understand.
Absolutely.
So it being a double-edged sword means I try to not put out quote-unquote mediocre content.
You
because
don't.
I want
You don't. She don't. I mean,
I don't know if it's just the creator in me. I cannot. That's why I'm saying we will try again tomorrow until we get it right. Not necessarily maybe perfectionism in that aspect of it needs to be, because no one is perfect. But I want, even as we continue, there's some growth, there's some progress to it.
Okay, and you, Kayla? The challenge.
For me, the challenge is, first of all, the investment that it takes, guys.
Sure.
And I think sometimes when you're approached by a brand, they don't take into consideration that you yourself as a content creator, you are investing in the content that they want you to put out. So that includes, let's say, if you're not like into makeup, you have to get a makeup artist, you have to get a photographer, you have to get a location. I have been arrested, guys, while I'm trying to be shooting content. No, I swear, I have been arrested. Not even once, like I'm always apprehended by the police. Because sometimes, you know, you see all this international creators just having so much liberty to, you know, do street style.
Yeah.
You know, shoot in town, and you go there in town and you think all will be well before you're told, my dear, in here kwa boots. Like, they come there with the pickup, they're like, get in, you're a terrorist and we cannot allow, this is a matter of national security. The times that I've been told, the chilling in town is a matter of national security, guys. And I mean, clients, they just want to see the end product. And they want to leverage on the influence that you have built throughout all these years, your money, your sweat, your tears, and they're like, 10,000.
How does that even get to
10,000. And I feel like that really discourages me from collaborating with brands, because to me, I feel like it has to make sense. It has to make sense. The turnaround has to be beneficial for me. Otherwise, why am I doing it? So I feel like for me, that has been the biggest challenge. The fact that in Kenya, we don't have systems that are supportive of creatives. You really have to go through the ringer before you're able to put out content, especially with fashion. I mean, it's so stressful, honestly. So I think that's my challenge. The fact that, again, I mentioned this earlier, that Kenya, we haven't yet reached to the point where there's real appreciation for content, guys. I mean, if you see other countries like South Africa, you know, and UK, whatever, they really value their influencers. I mean, you feel taken care of by brands, you feel considered, there's the budget. There are all these provisions that I feel like are lacking in Kenya. So for me, it's been a big challenge, honestly. And I wish, and I think now there are agencies, I hear that there are agencies that are representing influencers, content creators.
What was the
The sigh.
I'm losing hearing in my left eye. I think one, I understand when you talked about the turnover and for it to make financial sense as a creator, because you've invested a lot. From the clothes to the makeup to the shoes to the time
to the cameras
to the camera
to the equipment,
to the software.
Girl,
it's a long list, but at the same time, I feel like now that's what I'm saying. Again, even in this industry, it's a double-edged sword, because you may refuse to. I feel like creators sometimes you see, honestly, it's not making any sense for me. I'm going at a loss. But at the same time, Kayla, you're trying to grow your portfolio. You want to send a media kit that has X, Y, and Z number of brands so that people can be able to continue. You know, people
serious.
So because if I say I've worked with X, Y, and Z and A, B, and C, everyone's like, okay, it makes sense. It's more likely for a brand to work with you having seen you work with other brands. That's what I'm saying. So I think for people,
the credibility.
So I think it's a very thin line between you wanting to grow as a creator and grow with more brands, but at the same time, are you making losses? Are you really struggling? You know.
Okay, but I also feel like content creation is just like any job. It's just that actually, you know how you go to school for a couple of years, you get an internship for a while, then you get a real job. The only thing is that in content creation, there's no school. You are the school, so you teach yourself all these skills over a number of years. And the truth is that for us to get the things that we want, you have to do what you can until you do what you want.
Exactly.
So you can't go off the bat and be like, yo man, I need this amount of money, this is what I'm expecting. You have to actually, you know, create content for a while independently and put out good content so that brands can trust you. And sometimes the brands won't pay you the way you would like. But I feel like what Stephanie has said, maybe just invest in like getting more brands on your radar. But also there's a thin line between that and then maybe you accepted 10,000 this time,
which is another thing. You see, now that's where the other problem comes in with creators accepting very low standards and stuff like that. It makes it even harder for another creator to come like, I cannot accept that. And that's where now I see agencies, because agencies are I don't know. Personally, I would very much prefer if a brand reached out to me directly versus through an agency. I have been through hell and back. My advice, especially to creators when starting out, please do not go into it very naive. People will be, especially when it comes to agencies, they can be very manipulative. You will not be treated in. That's another thing I think we can talk about another day. But you will get to realize macro influencers or macro creators are treated in complete different to micro. So when starting out, I think you need to be more aware of the agencies that you work with. Also be able to champion for your own rights, because if not, they will take advantage. But other than that, it will be smooth, I believe. I hope so.
Yeah. So people always talk about consistency and finding a niche. Do you think those two things are important?
Absolutely, absolutely. Because I feel just what I mentioned earlier. I think when you find your niche, then that's where your influence is, right? Like people follow Stephanie, they know her for her makeup. So if she comes up with like a makeup line, or she starts, you know, or opens even a fashion brand, because we know her for her style as well, that's what your audience watches you for, right? So you're more likely to influence them to your advantage, so you're able to make a considerable return out of all the work that you've been putting in. Don't do everything. Don't be like, okay, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing ABCD. No, find what you're really, really passionate about, narrow in and perfect it, because it really pays off in the long run.
And you, Steph?
I think I can speak on consistency. If it's not for consistency, I promise you will not see any growth. A lot of people DM me and they ask me, oh, I want to learn how to edit like you, but you forget this is a skill I had been teaching myself since probably 2017. I remember the first time I got the software Adobe Premiere Pro, I opened it, I tried it, I said, you know what, maybe Adobe Premiere Pro is not for me.
It's very complex.
Yes. So, but again, it also just happens with a lot of editing software. Just the practice of continuing with a skill, you'll only get better at it.
Absolutely.
And obviously it will not happen overnight. So I guess with consistency comes growth and progress.
Absolutely.
Okay. I think also a lot of people who create content are really eager to monetize their content really fast. So they feel like, I'll start creating content in January, and by December, I'll get paid by a brand. What do you think you would say about that?
I think for me, when I've always been asked that, I've always said, I hope you start with the right reasons in mind. If you go into content creation thinking you are going to be a billionaire, okay, fine, there are those, people. Rules I remember what they called exceptions to the rules, where people just blow up and life is good.
Elsa Majimbo, the god of Elsa Majimbo. Oh my goodness.
So, and also not to take away from the fact that these creators were not doing whatever they were doing, right? Because I think people forget that. But anyways, I think back to you start with the right reasons in mind. I would hope for most creators that you start with it from a place of passion, because trust me, the money does come eventually, but you can lose passion for it. You will not want to continue waking up to something and it feels like a chore.
Absolutely.
Like you see a camera, just not today. So I do hope that if you start with the right reasons in mind and start from a place of passion, then from there everything will pan out.
Yeah, but I also feel like when someone is passionate about something, it really translates. So when you're around them, you can feel like this person is really passionate about this. When you watch their content, their passion just shines through. And I heard there's this video, I think I'll link it at the bottom of this, and it talks about how value and money follows passion. So what is that thing that you're good at doing that if no one was paying you to do it, you would still do it anyway?
Exactly.
Then you get that thing and you just start doing it and continue doing it until you become better. Then hope, you're not even sure. Hope and pray.
And I think
it will pay off.
I think as well that there's this misconception that content creation is the easy way out, because it looks very glamorous, it looks very easy, so that can make people think that you don't need to put in the hard work. But when you look at women like Jackie Aina, Patricia Bright, because for me those are, I think, the women that I aspire to, because first and foremost, they're Black women, and they have been able to build wealth from not even just like doing okay, I don't know, like they've been able to build serious wealth from their content creation, and it's taken them over a decade to do it. So it's the hard work it's non-negotiable. The same way you think being a doctor is difficult, honey, being a content creator, you also have to put in, if not the same amount of work, even more
work.
I
think we always say this, me and Kayla, we always say it's either you go hard or you
don't
do it at all.
you have to. Oh my gosh, you do.
And content creation is hard because every time I'm with content creators, like I'm very bummed.
She's always tired.
I am exhausted.
Guys, we can do a shoot with Mora. After she takes 3 pictures, she's like, I think I'm down.
Reflects like a balloon.
And I'm like, girl, we are just getting started. These are lights. Can we have the lights?
Yeah.
Or even when we go out to eat,
Yeah.
the food comes. I'm like, Kayla is like, hold on. Bro, listen, I'm here to eat.
I'm like, no. I mean, if we didn't document it, did we even eat?
How would
we
they
eat?
know? How would they know?
Who will we tell that
Yes.
we were fed?
We know we
No.
ate. We know we ate. That's so it's really difficult.
Yeah.
And I think also just finding the inspiration. Sharing it takes away from you.
Yeah.
So creativity is like a cup, and you have to have your cup filled so that you can give. What do you think
Absolutely.
fuels like your creativity? Like what do you do to stay fresh, to not have creative fatigue or creative block where you feel like, okay, I'm not creative, I can't do any ideas anymore. What do you do to refresh your creativity so that you're always coming up with new content, interesting content, engaging content?
I think for me, I look up to other content creators a lot. I'm constantly inspired by, Stephanie. I also really love Kate. And just seeing them like do it is a huge motivating factor for me. And I think these days, because of TikTok and how I think video content has just become more globalized, you're able to pick different ideas from different people, so it stops being a burden as such. But I think also sometimes when I'm feeling fatigued, like I just let myself be fatigued. I know, I know that doesn't always sound like the most inspiring thing to say, but I just don't force it, because there are times that I've taken a big break, like from posting for months, really, because I wasn't maybe in the best mental headspace, or I was just focusing my attention on other things, so I think it's just about finding that balance for me, picking just ideas from other creators, feeling inspired by what they're doing, and as well just taking a step back because I feel like creativity is something that's so sensitive that when it's forced, someone can tell, someone can really tell when you're forcing it. And I think for me, because above all else, all the other things that I do, the thing that I'm so passionate about is my writing, and my writing is fueled by my emotions and every single stage in life that I'm in, So if I'm not in a stage where I feel like I can write, if I sit down to try and force words, I'll just be like, no, this is sounding very processed, and for me, my heart has to be in it. So if I'm feeling fatigued, if I'm not feeling inspired, then I take a break until I'm feeling inspired.
My sister always says how you cannot pour from an empty vessel.
Yeah,
So I think for me, as just like Kayla has said, it has been, I cannot even begin to explain how much it has been a blessing to make networks and to make genuine friendships in this creator field. I cannot, okay, you're not a creator, especially in this aspect.
I'm creating this video. I don't know what these people are talking about. Am I not moderating?
Okay.
I am a moderator.
Okay, I meant to say maybe to not to the
agree.
extent as Kayla does. Now Kayla could come in
close.
Or maybe for me, I would come and rant to you maybe about my Premiere Pro software, and if it's something that does not necessarily relate to you, resonate to you, make sense to you, you'd be more inclined to tell me something like exactly.
Sorry, sweetie. Hope it works out.
So having or making these genuine friendships, they always, or building that creator circle, they always are there to pull me out of it. Because I remember, for example, for me, after I was unwell in December, maybe for like a week, and it was really bad, and then I didn't know it was COVID at the time, so now add another, let's say 2-3 weeks, so I hadn't been creating for almost a month. And even when I got back after I got better, it was still very difficult for me to create. And I remember always complaining to now my creator circle, and I was always telling them, and for them, thankfully, one, I received a lot of encouragement, and I know this is not coming from someone who's just telling me "Woye, pole," but they genuinely understand. We see each other. Like so, having that creator circle was the biggest thing for me. And two, I also just scrolled back to the bottom of my feet when my makeup was horrendous and I was doing the most obnoxious of things. And I'm like, if I have come this far, then I can only go so. Then I can go
further.
So I think by
That's
trying
amazing.
to fuel my creativity, I go back to where.
We're so proud of you.
Thank you.
We're so proud of you, honestly.
I feel like that's one thing Kayla needs to learn. I feel like not to be proud of her, but I feel like sometimes Kayla can come and tell me or her other friends about challenges she's facing in the content creator space. And like I love her and I want to get it, but I just
but
I can't get it.
You don't have the capacity.
So and she doesn't really have like a lot of creator friends. So maybe you
I'm here.
I'm here.
So I think as we conclude this video, what do you think is your goal ultimately for you, Stephanie? Let's start with you in your content creator journey. Where do you want to reach? So fine, you're doing reels, you're doing makeup, you're partnering with brands, but to what end? And maybe we can also talk about that vision in terms in relation to what your parents expect you to do, and in terms of making money. How is that going to go, especially now you're about to graduate?
Yes, so I'm actually I completed my undergraduate last December and I graduate in September. And I think just the other day, because I was having a panic attack because I was like that.
Yes.
You know, when I think it also comes to the content creation space, because I'm also a green creator and I just started. As much as 2 years sounds like a long time, in all honesty, it's been like a blink. And it's been me learning and grasping at straws, and I'm also still learning at the same time. So the question comes in, what do I necessarily have to show for it? It's not like I wake up in the morning and you see me and then I come back in the evening. You know, there are days where I will be stuck up on my computer editing for hours, but to the outside eye it looks like Steph has just been chilling on her laptop all day. So, and I guess it's also because in my family a lot of people are in corporate, and then now there's me who's in creation. So there's the constant question of, okay, so what are we doing, like for real? You know, for the longest time I think my parents,
this little phase when it ends.
My parents, I think they did support me, because if it were not for them and them even trying to invest into my dream, I wouldn't have come this far. For example, explaining, oh, you know, I need to get a camera and the lenses and the tripod and whatnot, and I'm grateful that they've even had like they've been there, especially for the monetary support, because before you start making money, as you've said, it's a while. So you need a cushion. If you do have it, that's fine. So there's always been the question of, again, with creation, it's not like a 9 to 5. I don't get a salary at the end of every month, not unless you've signed long-term contracts. So it's always some months we're doing great, and then some months are dry. And I think coming especially from my family, it's always been a question of stability, security. And again, this space is growing, you know. So maybe tomorrow we'll wake up and there's no Instagram, and then what are we gonna do?
What are we gonna do?
You know, so I think my end goal for now, I think, and I mean for now because I'm not necessarily sure I will continue with it until I'm way older.
And that's okay.
And that's okay.
Because our channel is for like women who we're all trying to figure it out. So
and I think also at the same time we change, we evolve. Step 2019 is not step 2022, you know. So I think for me the end goal right now is to build my brand, the brand Stephanie Yanga as is. For the longest time I've also wanted to get into the beauty space. So this would mean either starting my own lash line or even getting into the beauty space in corporate, having a spa, a salon, a boutique, whatever. So I just want to have things, because at the same time I know I'm not just, I don't know if I can really put all my eggs in the basket of content creation. Also with the money that I'll be getting from brands and also my own brand, I plan to like reinvest, buy boards, you know. So, and that's why I mean that is my end goal for now. It might change in next year, it might change in the next few years.
That's a really good answer.
Thank you.
Amazing answer. We wish you all the best, babe, and we will definitely support you when you come out with anything.
For sure. Kayla or Kylie. When the teacher knows you are lazy, then they call you number one. Kayla or Kylie. Tell us. What is your goal?
Oh my goodness. I think that I am in a very figuring it out space right now in my life. And when it comes to content, I honestly believe that fashion is my gift, right? I think like it's a thing that God has put in my hands, and my mission for Yane Girl, which is my fashion brand, has always been to give women the level of self-confidence that I have gained through clothes, right? So my goal eventually is to have a very successful and thriving global women's wear brand for women of all colors, all sizes. Other than that, my other goal is to have a thriving styling company. I've already started it, which is okari.co, and what I do is personal shopping, personal styling, image consultancy, and I would really love to get into corporate on that front as well, just in regards to image consulting. So I'm really investing towards studying about it, actually like doing a course about it this year. Yeah, and just really seeing the Kenyan women thrive in terms of their image, caring about how they look, caring about how they present themselves, because I really feel like that's my purpose. You know, I really know how to make women look and feel their best.
Yeah, that's true.
Can I just say how articulate you are? Every time she speaks and I'm like, oh shit, I'm next.
Yeah, it happened.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Guys,
Look at her acting like
I'm just so surprised.
I think for me, just to wish the content creators the best.
yes, and I think just takeaways. What would you tell? Any advice that you would have? I mean, obviously we've given bits and pieces, but what would you kind of conclude with?
As the moderator, I will say summarize your advice to 2 points. Like I mean, the advice needs to be sustained. Something that when I sit down, it's like it comes to mind very quickly. Yes, so
I think as a creator, imposter syndrome will come and you will overcome.
yeah, that's a good punchline.
Thank you.
Yes, that's a very good one. For me, pivot your influence towards something or a brand, your own personal brand that will create revenue for you, even as you're continuing to figure out the creation process.
I'm so proud of you, girl.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Steph, for being in our video. When I reached out to Steph, she did not hesitate.
I was I'm here. Despite the journey to get here, I'm here.
Yeah, she's here. So thank you so much for watching. In this video at the bottom and as this other post, we'll try and include resources that we think will help you on your content creator journey. We will have another video in the future talking about copyright, talking about trademarks and all those things.
Yes.
So please feel free and stay tuned. Reach out to Steph in her DM.
Yes.
Thank you. Please
Talk to us. And see you in the next episode.
Bye.